just like in this case. In the end, the local brought a long pole with a hook attached on its one end and brought the monkey down. They tried CPR, but nothing worked. Jojo was gone. Elephant gets burned. An elephant named Protea accidentally fell into a moat in a zoo in Chile. The classic rescue was devised by zoo employees and firefighters. The plan was to use ropes, manpower, and a crane to lift the elephant out of that ditch. After a draining 4 hours of rescue, the elephant was pulled to safety. But there was another disaster waiting to happen. As soon as the elephant freed itself from the ropes, it ran towards its mate. Unfortunately, the fence wire was live at that time, and the elephant touched it with its trunk. Miraculously, she survived it and stood up after some time, but the voltage did damage to its trunk and some parts of its brain. Desperate Mama Bear. Looking at this desperate bear climbing an electric pole might make you question her sanity, but she's looking for her lost cub in Albuquerque, New Mexico. She decided to go up the pole and look for her cub from there, but unfortunately, she became trapped on top of that utility pole. People called the authorities, and they decided to tranquilize the mama bear, not realizing her precarious position. She fell after being unconscious, and on her way down, became electrocuted. Her cub was found afterwards, but the mother lost her life. Every year, hundreds of animals get electrocuted. Despite the best efforts to reduce this number, wildlife is prone to accidents. And here are 20 such incidents of animal electrocution. Hang on to know if this deer had wings or an enemy who dropped it on electric cables to die. Baby chimp learns electricity. Animal babies are curious by nature and go after anything that intrigues them, even if it's a live wire. A poor baby chimp was also fascinated by those thin wires that kept them enclosed in their enclosure. He came near it to explore that thing, but got the shock of his life. The miserable animal was all shaken by the current. Its family came over to solace it, and the baby itself clung to its mother to feel better. The little boy has learned how electricity works. Monkey gets paralyzed. No information is available about this heartbreaking clip over the internet, but it appears to me as if this troop of monkeys were living in some sort of temple. They were all playing, not realizing one of their mates was fighting for his life, stuck in electric wires. The poor soul tried its best, but at one point lost all of her energy and dropped on the ground. The thought alerted the whole troop, but they could do nothing. The owner of the clip claims that medical help was also provided to the monkey, but no visual evidence is present. In the end, the poor animal woke up and dragged itself to reach its family. I hope it did well afterwards. Jojo passes away. A monkey named Jojo was seen hanging from a powerful electric wire. Whilst its other friends were playing around, Jojo was motionless for what looked like an eternity, stiff, with both its hands clung to the wire and one foot resting on the transformer. If you were wondering why Jojo got electrocuted and not its other friends, only if the body of an animal forms a connection between two parallel wires and completes the circuit is when a sizzling electrocution occurs. This image was sent to us by one of our subscribers. Similarly, if you ever wish to know more about an image you come across, just send it on over to us. Who knows? We might even feature it in one of our videos. Today's subscriber pick points towards a horrifying incident that took place in a village in the Indian state of Telangana. The locals were left awestruck when they found a dead leopard stuck up on a 12-foot-high electrical pole in the Nazimabad district. This is our subscriber's pick. The villagers heard a blast and their electric power was cut off. They rushed to the pole where they saw the leopard, dead and motionless. They brought it down on the ground and then buried it. Goat versus electrical fence. This little goat is just hell-bent on getting itself in trouble. I'm amazed at how much he wanted to hurt himself. It happened. And there he goes. Yeah, run, you little fool. Plenty of grass everywhere, but nope, the so-called daredevil just wants the one under the electrical fence.
Nah, guys, it was nothing. I'm just playing around.
The water standing beneath the pole was conducting current, and as soon as the cow stepped on it, it got electroshocked. Though I'm not sure if the voltage was enough to end the life of the poor cow, the way she fell there and rested motionless, I'm forced to think otherwise. The clip hails from India, and some reports say that the cow died afterwards. Cat on a pole. This clip has come from India, in which you can see a cat stranded on a power line. No one knows how the cat ended up there, but a very disastrous fate was waiting for it. Even before the rescuers could reach it, the cat was electrocuted. You could see the deadly sparks of electricity that sent the cat flying to the ground below. Poor cat couldn't even take a second breath. It was all over. Slothcution. This is the only clip that literally brought me on the edge of crying. We all know sloths are the slowest mammals on the planet. They move at the abysmal speed of 4 meters per minute. One such poor sloth somehow ended up between 2 live wires, unknowingly touching them. The poor animal was getting shocked for a very long time in front of the cameraman, and even he could do nothing. The animal was long dead, but its claws were locked into each other, and it took a lot of current for the sloth to finally fall down. That little sloth has all my respect, and again, I will reinforce, getting electrocuted is a terrible way to die. Monkey swinging on power line. Remember when I told you guys that only if the body of an animal forms a connection between 2 parallel lines and completes the circuit is when a sizzling electrocution occurs? Here is another such case. Look at this monkey, all playing around and swinging on the power lines, creating its own little world of happiness. But then it made a terrible mistake. It jumped on the other line, and during the jump, completed the circuit, which caused a sizzling blast of electricity. The monkey fell on the road, motionless and breathless. Monkey falls off power line. A pair of elephants were strolling on lush green grounds of a mountain when one of the elephants got electrocuted. Though there is a distance between the wires and the elephant, air, being the dielectric medium, made the current flow, and thus the elephant got electrocuted. Luckily, the other elephant helped its mate get up, and they continued their walk. Bird explosion. The owner of this clip said that the birds were playing jump rope with a power distribution line, and I couldn't agree more, but they were so huge in numbers. I knew something terrible would happen, and it did when the distribution line exploded with all the birds flying away. Dozens of birds were roasted and met their end in the explosion. Birds cause swing short. A huge flock of birds sitting on a line creates tension, and if they all leave at once, it makes the line swing madly. This is known as a swing short, and yes, it causes a cutout fuse to explode. But luckily, no injuries were reported. Snake flies away. No, this is not a flying snake. It's a normal slithering snake who went after birds sitting on pole lines. It wanted to fill its stomach, but in its desperate attempt to find food, it ended up roasting itself instead. Well, you cannot catch a bird sitting on electric wires, dude. Rest in peace now. Lion and water buck. This clip hails from Kruger National Park, and nothing can beat its weirdness. You can clearly see a water buck sitting near a fence line and two lionesses after it. The water buck is not running away, and the lionesses are not attacking. What is going on? Well, our theory is the water buck ran straight into the fence post and had the advantage of electricity in it. Whenever the lionesses come in for attack, they get electric shock, but not understanding what is happening. Eventually, one of the lionesses jumped on the water buck despite the shocks and continued the hunt. Despite the small protection the fence provided, the lioness killed the water buck after being shocked so many times during the attack. Cat on telephone pole. Another cat clip from India. This time it was stuck on a telephone pole, and the rescuers were there to help her. The only problem was that the cat was extremely distrusting of the rescuers. Anyhow, we don't know this with certainty, but we speculate that the backflip it made on the rescuing pole was due to electric shock. Take a look and tell us, do you think so? The cat landed on the pole and then jumped on the roof to escape. We hope she's doing fine now. And now, let us move on to our subscriber pick of the day. A hungry bear. Researchers do all kinds of things to get to observe the behavior of animals. Here, they used a deer carcass, wrapped it in wires, attached it to a battery, and left it for the jungle animals as a meal. A hungry bear came and approached it. Now, obviously, he wanted to eat it. He went for a good bite, and this happened. The poor animal was in shock as to what happened to his yummy dinner. It should have ended like this, but there is a fact that bears don't give up easily. Later at night, the bear came again for a little hand-to-hand combat, and here it goes again. You would think that after getting shocked for 2 times, this bear wouldn't dare now, but the fella was at it again. The intelligent animal figured for a while about how he could get the meal to devour his appetite. He noticed the battery and went straight for it, disconnecting the battery. Then he poked the deer sometimes to make sure that it wasn't electrified now, and he goes for it. And here comes the meal. Again, a dog versus cows. What's up with all these dogs, huh? What do they all think of themselves? They just want to poke their nose in every animal's affair. This one, once again, got all macho and stuff and started imitating the cows. The cows, on the other hand, paid him no heed. I bet the cows were talking to each other like,
"Lol, look at this stupid dog. Bet he's going to touch it."
Yeah, I think so too. Do it, dog. Do it. First time.
The dog literally ran and ran and ran. I'm telling you, this is the last time he's messed with a cow. Squirrel flying in the air. Okay, I'm just kidding. What happened is that this squirrel was messing around with this electrical pole. Literally, the animal touched the pole repeatedly after getting shocked every time. But then, this happened. The poor animal got flying across. In a nutshell, he didn't fly, but fell to the ground. Okay, I think the pole wasn't properly marked high voltage, so the squirrel should definitely sue. Don't worry, guys. The squirrel didn't pass away. He was electrified, not electrocuted. Also, the squirrels can easily survive a fall from that height. They do it all the time when they miss a tree branch in a jump. Goat hanging on cable. Now, I have no idea how on earth this goat ended up on those cables. Could anyone explain? Even the tourists who spotted it were dumbfounded, but decided to help with a ladder. I mean, it's okay, you know? There was no time to call for a crane or firefighters to help the situation. They brilliantly tried to push the goat away on the cable with the ladder, which might have hurt her, but that was the only option. Better in pain than in heaven. They tied ropes around it, and voila, saved its life. Finally, an animal on this list that didn't get electrocuted. Deer on power line. Like you guys, Even I was shocked at first as to what happened to this poor baby deer and how it ended up there on the power line, all dead and electrocuted. No, it was not a deer with wings. It turns out a mighty eagle was flying with the deer in its talon when they struck the electric wires and got electrocuted. The poor eagle dropped below where it took its last breaths, but the deer was left hanging on the power line. Eagles are known to hunt medium-sized animals like deer, goats, and snakes. But as you can see by the size of this young eagle, even the little fawn was too heavy for it to carry. Both animals met terrible ends, which is very unfortunate. But don't worry, I believe all animals go to heaven, so they'll be enjoying their time there. So you don't have to be sad. With this ending note, we will see you next time. Python gets electrocuted. Snakes are often spotted at places where they are least expected. They are sneaky creatures, and if they have to, they will climb even barbed wires to reach their destination.
I took still pictures of them climbing, but I wish I'd had my video going at the time.
Just like that, no one expected a huge python in the electrical room of a storage facility. It's speculated that the snake came there for shelter, but ended up dead after being subjected to high voltage currents. The only thing that petrifies me is the fact that the python was so big and long, and still there was enough voltage in there to roast it out of life. That's a terrible, terrible way to die indeed. Cow gets shocked. This is a heart-wrenching death that could have been avoided if there were enough precaution. Another goat with another electrical fence. If you thought I was just trashing the previous one, have a look at this one. This is just plain stupid, okay? He's hurting, but he still doesn't want to let go. It's kind of like how all my relationships have been so far. Oh, for God's sake, get out of there, man! And what to do of his damn tongue? The fella just can't stop licking, guys. Maybe he likes the taste of danger. Seriously, it looked like the goat was actually enjoying it. I guess there's a kind of rush when you get shocked like that. Banter between a donkey and a dog. If you thought that only humans are mean, then surely you have not seen this. 2 horses, a donkey, and 2 dogs were just chilling outside. Suddenly, a dog got a little shock from an electric fence. The poor animal ran for his life. Even his leash came off during this. But this heartless donkey straight out started laughing at him. I mean, look at his audacity. The donkey was like,
Yes, I've been waiting for this moment for years.
I think he also had an experience and waited for someone else to get shocked. What a great sense of humor for an animal. Dog versus cows. Here, this little dog just went too far. He wanted to intimidate the cow, but in the end, got his ego burnt. As the pair of cows approached, he started barking at them, being all cool and macho, you know? All the others were just watching him silently, waiting for the moment it would happen. The dog, being the biggest fool, didn't think twice and kept barking and running toward the wired fence. After a while, the cows lost interest in this and went back. They were like,
Come on, Steve. He already is a dead man.
At last, the moment came as the dog approached the fence, being unaware of what would happen. And of course, he got shocked. And he went running. Oh, he kept running and running and running. The cows were like,
And that sums up our entertainment for the day.
it's like all of them were waiting for this moment silently. Trust me, they were all laughing internally. And the legend says that the dog is still running away from the fence. Electric bird. Some birds were chilling out on a bunch of electrical wires. Well, we all know what's gonna happen. And there he goes. The poor bird got a shock and went into landing mode. I'm kidding, he just fell down. There, the man capturing this went to see the bird. Don't you sweat it, guys, he's still alive and well. I mean, look at him. He saw the man and went away flying into the air. The best part for me was how the bird just looked up like,
So you saw that too, huh?
he gets fully charged, reboots, and then flies away. And from the next day, the bird began fighting crime with his new superpowers.